Hello, everyone. Welcome back to College of Lore. I'm Cass with College of Lore.
I am Apocalypse.
Every time. Every goddamn time.
I'm Apocalypse World with the Penitent.
Okay.
I'm the Penitent with College of Lore.
We're reviewing Apocalypse World.
Yeah,
This is a review series, and we're reviewing Apocalypse World.
this is a popular one.
Yeah.
It is the base system for the Powered by the Apocalypse engine.
Mm-hmm.
I've
played this one once for, like, a session.
Yeah.
I don't remember it very well. I vaguely remember the, like, character creation of it. That's all. You are gonna know way more about the vast majority of these than I am.
Yeah, so it's the base Powered by the Apocalypse game. We are doing other Powered by the Apocalypse games. They will have somewhat similar scores.
Yeah.
The premises will differ.
Yes.
But this is the main one. This is
the one.
The OG, if you will.
The big boy.
So, what is it and who designed it?
Why are you asking me that question? I'm supposed to ask you that question.
Right.
What is it and who designed it?
So, it's a role...
Hang on, I put those separately in the other videos. What is it? Tell me that part first.
It's a role-playing game.
Okay, great, awesome. Thanks, that's super helpful.
So, it's a role-playing game kind of set after the fall of humanity.
Yeah.
The world. And it is also a customizable system that's really easy to adapt into other settings.
Yeah, which is why it's the basis for a whole nother thing.
Yes.
Who designed it?
So, the husband and wife team.
Okay.
Of D. Vincent Baker and...
I don't know how you say that name. Megway?
We'll put the name on the screen.
We'll put the name on the screen. Meguey.
Baker.
Yes.
So, husband and wife team.
They designed
the game together.
Romance! Yeah. That's so cute. I love that. We should
I know D. Vincent Baker's done a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
They both have. And they're quite good at con scenes, I believe.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I love that for them. So yeah, the premise is kind of the second part of what it is.
So the idea is that it's post-apocalyptic. What the apocalypse is, there are a lot of post-apocalyptic games that have the apocalypse decided for you. The big thing here is what the apocalypse is entirely based on your group's choice. Your GM's choice, your group's choice, probably should be a combination of the two.
Yes.
And
you decide.
Yes.
You decide 100%.
It can matter. It can be entirely ambiguous.
Yeah.
And you can never know. It can be hyper-specific, it can also not be.
Yeah. Very fun.
The one thing is, because one of the classes / playbooks is set a certain way, it's a time after the apocalypse, not recent apocalypse.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, how cooperative is this one?
It has cooperative as you want it to be. It's not inherently a party RPG.
Yeah.
But
it's also not like Burning Wheel, where largely the point of it is you're probably not interacting that frequently.
Yeah, you interact with each other. A lot of Apocalypse World games I've seen, players are adversarial to each other.
Interesting, okay.
You can have anywhere from you're all part of the same group of survivors looking to survive, or you're opposing settlements trying to fight each other.
Okay.
Or you're all part of the same group, but you're trying to backstab each other, you know.
There's basically as much cooperativeness as you want there.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the crunch level on this one?
Light to mid, I'd say it's less crunchy than D&D 5e, honestly.
Okay, that makes sense.
It could range, it's not too crunchy, but there's a little bit of an initial curve.
Okay.
Once you get over that curve, it's basically you're home free, but there's a little bit of a curve, especially if you're coming in for something else.
Grimdark scale.
Tends to lean darker, but you could play it really goofy if you wanted to.
Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense because it's set post-apocalypse. Yeah. It kind of makes sense that it would be a little fucky-wucky.
You know, the goofiest I've seen it is like Fallout level of quirky.
Okay. And then what's the, like, rolling system on this one? This is a pool of D6, yes. Right?
It is a 2d6 system.
Okay.
It's not like Burning Wheel where you have a huge number of d6. You're always rolling 2d6.
Okay.
Those are the only dice you'll need at all in this game.
Okay, fun.
And
I don't like d6 systems, just in general. I don't know why. Probably because I started with a d20 system.
Yeah, you have stats skills that add either -2, -1, 0, +1, or +2 to your rolls. 6 or lower is a failure, and whatever you're doing fails. 7 to 9 is a partial success, where what you're doing kind of succeeds, but
not everything.
Yeah, it's a but-and statement, typically. Like, you know, you open the door, but there's something bad on the other side.
Yeah.
Or you open the door, but you break your lockpick. 10 plus is a full success.
Okay.
And I believe a natural 12 is a critical success. That's up to DM discretion, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So they have playbooks instead of classes, which have their own little modifiers and features, but they're less deep than D&D classes, and they're also more specific than D&D classes.
Okay, they're kind of niche.
Yeah, there's stuff like the Hardholder, who has their own water supply and building.
Interesting.
Battle Babe, who's
so they're very much their own roles.
A werewoman. There's some sort of psionic mystic class that's tied to this
cool.
underlying thing. There's a playbook somewhere that is a soldier who was frozen before the apocalypse and is thawed out in the apocalypse, I believe.
Well, that's kind of cool. Love that.
Yeah. Playbooks are fun little things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so jumping into scoring, at the end of the scoring, we'll tell you the final score and we'll compare it to all the other RPGs we've reviewed. First category is concept out of 10.
Yeah, so I give it an 8.
Alright, an 8.
I think it's a really neat little concept. I think, post-apocalypse has been done to death.
Yeah.
But post-apocalyptic role-playing games hadn't at the time.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool concept. I don't know how you feel about it.
I'm neutral because I don't actually super like post-apocalyptic stuff. Yeah. But if you like it, it's definitely a good concept.
I respect it more than I like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Looking at other scores I've given out.
Yeah.
I really like how easy the system is to mod is a big part of it.
That's fair. And that's kind of the point because it's a basis for a lot of modded stuff.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
But yeah, I really like the concept and I feel it's kind of the initiator of post-apocalyptic RPGs.
Okay. Cost of entry. You said this one gets a half point.
Yeah, 9.5.
Okay. Why does it get a half point? We've never given one of those before.
Okay. So I've always stated that 10 out of 10 on cost of entry is totally free.
Yes.
And 9 is like you have to buy one book.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're good at intuiting rules, play this game for free.
Okay.
The official website has a lot of the playbooks, a lot of the fronts, which are this mechanic that the GM uses to establish threats.
Okay.
Are available for free on the website. There are some things that are locked off to you. I think a lot of the base rules are locked off to you.
Mm-hmm. Unless you pay for them.
The book is $20.
Okay, that's
so
pretty fucking
it's not
cheap.
much.
Yeah.
That's why this is a 9.5, because it's not literally free, but it's almost free.
But if you can figure it out, you can make it free.
If you can, from what I told you about the dice system, you could probably play.
Yeah. The only thing I might not fully understand is the front mechanic.
Yes, which the GM needs to understand.
Yeah. So, talking about how easy it is to play, how's the player ease ranking
9 out of
here?
10. If you can get the playbooks thing in your head,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. You said it's a little bit of a curve, but that's about it. As a curve.
The curve is more for the GM.
Okay.
If you can get in your head as a player, if you can kind of wrap your head around conceptually, this is my kind of role. It's less D&D.
Yeah.
In a way, it's less Pathfinder in a way.
It's more specific.
Yeah.
This is what my character does.
And it's understanding the big thing to understand is moves. Is when they apply.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not nearly as complicated as like D&D abilities.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as rolling dice and never having to worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty simple for a player.
Okay.
It probably would take maybe 4 or 5 sessions to master it.
Okay.
As a player.
Cool. That makes sense. And that's going in blind.
Yeah, there are some more complicated classes, like a lot of the psionic stuff, but
yeah,
by and large.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about GMEs? How easy is this to use? It's a little harder.
Oh, so front trackers are one of the things that I don't like to use.
Okay.
It's keeping track of how big a threat is, how much time has passed on a threat.
Okay.
And I find it tedious.
Yeah, that's fair.
I cut that when
I'm very meticulous about things, so I like doing that.
I cut that when I GM things.
Mm-hmm. I think I might enjoy it if I could figure it out. But what'd you give it as a
7 out of 10.
Okay.
So it's not easy to learn, but it's not ridiculously complicated.
Yeah. And like you said, it's kind of an initial curve, and then you kind of get over that.
Yeah, it's initially just learning how it works, how it functions differently from something like that. You're actually encouraged by the book not to prep.
Okay. Yeah.
Is the interesting
Which is hard for some people.
Yeah.
That's very difficult for some people.
Which is really difficult for some people to understand.
It's really easy for me. I prep, the most basic possible notes and then go from there.
You are expressly told, do not prep.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Which
supposed
is
to
kind of similar to Burning Wheel,
Yeah,
right? Burning Wheel is very, very strict about that.
yeah, everything in the session on the fly.
Which is fun unless you're not the best at improv.
But what you're told to do, the fronts is the big things to learn. What you're told to do as a GM is choose a campaign or adventure front, which is like what's the big arc of this campaign, the big arc villain, arc threat. Choose 2 to 3 dangers of that front. Choose an impending doom for each danger, like the worst possible thing if that danger advances. Okay. And then just establish the stakes of those things.
And you said how long it takes, too.
Yes, there's a countdown to when the worst possible can happen.
Okay, interesting. That sounds kind of cool. That sounds like something I would actually love to keep track of.
Something that actually with a partial success is like, hey, you can choose. This succeeds, but I move the clock up.
Yeah.
Or this fails, and I don't move the clock up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea behind the GMing.
Interesting.
I think you might actually enjoy GMing Apocalypse World more than you would like playing it.
That honestly sounds about right for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So GME's is 7. Flexibility, I imagine this one's going to be low.
4.
Fair enough. It has a purpose and it fills its purpose, and I think that's true of a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse games.
There is, so flexibility, you could joke, super easy to mod, but as it stands, you cannot play a sci-fi game, really.
No. The point is, everything's gone.
You can't play medieval fantasy, really. You can't play modern. The point is, it's set in the apocalypse. These are specific playbooks that work for the apocalypse, specific threats that work for the apocalypse.
There's not much else to it.
Yes, you can change the kind of apocalypse. It's not like, this is nuclear apocalypse, this is zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's any kind of apocalypse you want it to be.
But that's about the only thing you can change.
Yeah,
okay.
But you can. It's always post-apocalyptic.
It's the same basic setting. You can just change the reason for the setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is it a fantasy world? Is it America? Is it Europe?
Yeah.
It's all these sort of things. But it is always going to be post-apocalyptic unless you make a new system.
And everything else is going to be like you could have someone be a different race, but it would be flavor and aesthetic. It wouldn't change anything.
Yes. There are no.
You could have a dwarf or an elf or whatever if you set it in a fantasy realm. But it wouldn't change anything.
There are no stats for that.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah. There's no way to give yourself modifiers based on that. The point is the playbooks.
Yes.
Variety. How's that one looking?
So there are a lot of playbooks as far as memory serves.
Yeah. I remember there being several, and a lot of them seemed pretty interesting.
Let me see if I can find a list of exactly how many there are.
Let's find out together, Googling all at once.
As of 2012, which is heavily outdated.
That's a long time ago. Have they released more since then?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's 10 years ago. Oh my god, 2012 was a decade ago. That hurts my brain.
As of 10 years ago, 18 playbooks.
And I'm sure a ton have come out since then. 18 is already, a lot more than even base D&D has. And I know they're a little more niche.
Yes.
But with probably a couple dozen coming out in that time, I would imagine.
So, variety I've given a 6 out of 10, again, because you're always human.
You're always human, and the roles are very specific.
Yes.
There's not a ton you can do to break out of them.
And you're always kind of weird. It's always fit into this weird kind of bendy...
Yeah.
The one thing it doesn't have, really, is you're just a survivor.
You're just a guy.
Trying to get by.
Yeah.
You always have some sort of weird quirk to you. I mean, some of these names for classes, Battle Babe, Chopper, Gunlugger, Child Thing.
Yeah. No, there's... Yeah. You kind of gotta get a little weird with all of it.
Yeah.
And if weird is not your style, this is not quite for you.
Yeah, if it's not more out there and bizarre...
Which I guess sort of makes sense, but if you're gonna get niche, there should also be a niche for just being a guy.
Yeah, there's no, for those of you that are Walking Dead, there's no, nothing that works for someone like Rick Grimes or something like that. More basic, very...
Just trying to do things as best they can.
I'm just a survivor trying to survive. This is a lot more Mad Max in a lot of the execution of these characters. Mad Max and Fallout, very characters more than down-to-earth people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people are presenting these fronts, and you can flavor it differently, but as it's written, if you're really getting into the flavor of the character...
They kind of have a caricature that they play into.
And again, the big thing is just you'll always be human, no matter what.
Yeah.
Implicit in the setting. Human. Maybe mutated slightly, but human.
Yeah. Popularity is the next category.
8 out of 10. Okay. Apocalypse World is very popular. It is the most popular PBTA game, arguably.
Okay.
Some might say Dungeon World. I would argue there are more players for Apocalypse World.
Okay.
PBTA games as a whole are really popular,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like the PBTA game.
Yeah.
It's Monster Hearts, it's Dungeon World.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's really easy to find a game.
Mm-hmm.
If I pulled up their subreddit right now, I'm curious, as an example.
Yeah. We're gonna do more internet searching live. This is fine. We don't script these, so like, all we have pre-written is the scores, really.
3.6k members.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
No,
It's not the D&D subreddit,
no,
but it's not bad.
and there's at least a post every day for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So compared to like Burning Wheel, where there's something every couple of weeks.
yeah. As I say, you could probably find a D&D game in a day.
In hours, maybe.
You could probably find. It'd probably take you about a week to set up an Apocalypse World game with a decent amount of players, but a week's a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have time. So popularity's 8. How's replay value?
So I also give that an 8.
Okay.
It's a fun little game to replay. It
isn't infinite.
It isn't infinite, but because it's always apocalyptic, and after a while that gets old.
And especially because there's not a ton of versatility with the playbooks, even though there are a lot of them.
Yeah, but
eventually you'll have seen most of what they do.
Yeah, you're like, there are enough classes to keep it somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
And enough apocalyptic scenarios to keep it interesting. Like, what if this time, like, the sun is deadly, or...
Mm-hmm. The sun is a deadly laser. Quoting that one Bill Wirtz video, it's like the history of the entire world or something. Go watch that video, it's so funny.
But yeah, that would be the only limitation, is that you'll eventually run out of playbooks and out of scenarios. And it's always apocalyptic.
It's the same base premise, you can just change the specifics. Yeah.
But you'd get tired of it after playing it every day for like a couple of years? Or every week for every day. Every week for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think
we play D&D basically every day.
But most people do stuff depending on how long your campaigns are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 8. What's fun? Fun is obviously a little bit subjective.
7 out of 10. Okay. I put it as
7's pretty solid. 7's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a very solid game. Above average on the fun scale.
Okay.
I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think especially some of the weirder, more psychic stuff is fun.
Mm-hmm. I love psychic shit.
One of my favorite characters, I actually played both of these characters once in a game.
Okay.
Was a young mother.
Okay.
Who had a psychic child.
Oh, that's super cool.
And was kind of dealing with her child's psychic stuff, and it led to a lot of her like spacing very mental illness vibes for the child, and dealing with accommodating to that while also keeping her safe, because children are a rare commodity and all this stuff. And she worked for another player character who had the hardholder specific thing, who ran this club and took care of her. And hired her and took care of her as a result of that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Quality is the last one.
7.
Okay. You've mentioned a couple times that this one is a little...
It's written fine. However, it's hard to understand sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's written from the perspective of... It's like written in character.
Yeah, which is fine if you like that, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to parse through, I remember. That threw me a little when we watched it.
It's written in character, which is really... I get why.
It's cool, but it makes it much more difficult to get through.
Yeah, it can be really annoying if you just want to know, like, okay, what does this do?
Yeah.
Which is my big complaint with it, honestly.
It's not that it's written badly, it's that it's written confusing.
Yes.
It's too deep in that kind of role.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I can find a specific example for this. As
you search the internet again.
No, I'm just pulling up a document I had on my phone already.
Okay. Internet time.
Whoa. I'm curious, what is your initial impression?
My initial impression of Apocalypse World?
Yes.
It's fine. I don't, like I said, I don't super vibe with post-apocalyptic settings. I really like a very versatile setting, and the variety and the flexibility in this one not being super high is always going to throw me. I'm not super gonna enjoy anything where I'm very pigeonholed into a specific plot or a specific kind of character vibe.
Yeah.
I like things that are really flexible in that way. And if something isn't, I'm probably not gonna enjoy it that much.
Let me read you the description of the Battle Babe class.
Okay, yeah,
This
read
is
it to me.
your first impression of them. Even in a place as dangerous as Apocalypse World, Battle Babes are, well, they're the ones you should walk away from, eyes down, but you can't. They're the ones like the seductive blue crackling light, you know? You mistook looking at them for falling in love, and you get too close and it's a zillion volts and your wings burn off like paper. What does that mean?
How does that explain what they do to you at all? That doesn't help. That's so useless to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, that just feels kind of weird to me.
It does.
That class, or playbook specifically, makes me a little, like, yuck.
It makes me a little uncomfortable, too.
Yeah, it's kind of yucky. Like, I get it, and it's fine, and this was written a while ago, but it's kind of yucky.
Yeah, like, a lot of these are, if I can read one more.
Yeah.
The Gunlugger. Apocalypse World is a mean, ugly, violent place. Law and society have broken down completely. What's yours is yours only while you can carry it in your hands. There's no peace, there's no stability, but what you carve, inch by inch, out of the concrete and dirt, and then defend with murder and blood. Sometimes the obvious move is the right one.
Interesting. That's not super helpful to me. That one's better than the other one.
It is. However, what in that entire description gives you any idea
of what
that it uses guns?
Nothing.
This is the Gunslinger class.
Yeah. And they don't tell you that it uses a gun.
Yeah.
And, like, you can get the implication that, like, you're killing stuff, but that doesn't tell you with what. Yeah, no, that's not helpful. Like, I get it, and it would be cool to have it as flavor text and also have the rest of the stuff. But it doesn't super have that to help you. Which is difficult at best.
It's not written poorly, it's written weirdly.
Yeah. Which is going to be a turnoff for some people, so that makes the quality score go down. Alright, so we've covered all the categories. Yay, we did it. What's our overall score?
73.5 out of 100.
Alright, fun. And where is that in comparison to the other ones? Do you remember?
Well, yes, I do. I have that running tally on my phone.
Cool.
That is right above Burning Wheel Gold at 72.
Okay.
Which makes me cry because I love Burning Wheel so much.
Burning Wheel's your favorite, and it's the lowest one so far out of 5.
And a little bit below Shadowrun 60 at 77.
Okay. It's kind of in the middle of this.
Yeah. It would be 4th on our list out of 5. Right now. Which is, as a reminder, number 1 is D&D 5e, number 2 is Pathfinder 2e, number 3 is Shadowrun 60, 4 is Apocalypse World, 5 is Burning Wheel Gold.
Alright. Burning Wheel Gold basically entirely gets docked points because of how unpopular it is, which is very sad.
How unpopular...
It would be up.
Because it's unpopular and complicated.
Yeah. Crunchy.
Very crunchy, very unpopular.
But you love it so much.
It's my favorite game. I would kill to play it live.
You would play 1 billion hours of Burning Wheel given the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's our ranking.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Apocalypse World? Do you like playing Apocalypse World?
Tell us your own
stories.
The game tales we read are still a thing we're going to eventually take viewer submissions from.
It's not just D&D. If you have Apocalypse World stories...
That's why you always specify what it's set in, is because it can be set in other things. So if you have an Apocalypse World story, and if you have watched the other RPG reviews and you have a story from any of those, feel free to go comment on them, and if you haven't watched them, go watch them.
Yeah, we have a playlist on the channel.
Yep.
Subscribe, Patreon, like the video.
We love you. Bye.
Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.